For today's lesson, we will be discussing more about the equation of a circle, but this time we will focus in finding the center and the radius given its equation. So first, let's have this equation, quantity of x plus 5 squared plus quantity of y minus 6 squared equals 81. So our goal is to find for the center and the radius of the given circle. So to do this, first is of course you have to be familiar with the different forms. So we have the standard form or the center radius form, and we also have the general form. So we can easily identify the center or the radius of a circle if the given equation is in its center radius form. The center radius form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now, if we will have to compare the given equation with the center radius form, we can see that this equation is already in the center radius form. So with that, we can now identify the center. So to find h, we have to look for the first binomial. So we have here 5. Now, since on the formula, it's negative h, so that means you have to get the opposite sign of this. So if this is positive 5, originally the center should be negative 5. And for k, we have to look at the binomial containing y. So since this is negative, it's the same with the formula, so we have to get positive 6. So the center is negative 5, 6. Now for the radius, you have to look at this number right here. Now since this one is r squared, then that means you have to get the square root of 81 for us to get the radius, and that is 9. So again, we have the center, negative 5, 6, and the radius, which is 9. Next, let's have this equation, x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 8y plus 21 equals 0. If you will notice, this one is in the general form. So like what I've said a while ago, it's better if the equation is in the center radius form so that we can easily identify the coordinates of the center and the radius. So our goal for this one is to change this into the center radius form. So first thing that we have to do is move the constant term to the other side of the equation. So we have negative 21. Then, next is we have to put together those terms with same variable. So we have x squared, then beside it we have to write the negative 6x. Then you have y squared, then put beside it 8y, so equals negative 21. Then, what we will do is group them. So we will be having two groups here. So I will be grouping this x squared minus 6x, then also y squared plus 8y. Because if you will recall, the center radius form, we have there two binomials. Now, next is we have to create a perfect square trinomial so that later on we will be having two squares of binomial. So to do that, we have to apply completing the square. Now to complete the square, we have to get the coefficient of x, so that is negative 6, divided by 2, and then square it. So the answer for that is 9. Do it also on the other binomials. So again, get the coefficient of y. So you have 8 divided by 2 square, that is 16. Now what are we going to do with these numbers? We have to add this to both sides of the equation. So we have x squared minus 6x, then plus 9. Then on the other side, we have y squared plus 8y plus 16. Equals negative 21. Now, since we add 9 and 16 on one side of the equation, we also have to do it on the other side. So we have plus 9 and then plus 16. Now, if you will notice, these two trinomials are already perfect square trinomials. So that means we can factor this, and the factor will be equal to square of a binomial. Just have to get the square root of the first term, so that is x, copy the sign of the middle term, get the square root of the last term, so that is 3, and then square it. So do the same thing on the other trinomial. So we have y, which is the square root of the first term, copy the sign of the middle term, so that's plus, and then get the square root of the last term, that is 4, and then squared. Now on this side, all you have to do is to simplify this. So this will be equal to positive 4. Now if you will notice, this equation now is already in center radius form. So you can already see h, k, and then also our r. So let's write now the center. So h now is, since this is negative, so we just write positive 3. Then for the k, since this one is positive, we have to get the opposite sign, and that is negative 4. For the radius, all we have to do is get the square root of the constant term here. So since this is 4, the radius is now equal to 2. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something about finding the center and the radius of a circle given its equation. So see you next time.